Hello, it is Rachel. And if you have seen any of my videos before, you probably know that I'm not in my house. I will tell you that I also don't have my normal computer, my normal camera or microphone, but I really wanted to record this video because I know there are a lot of parents struggling with what I have been talking about a lot recently, and I want you to see this as well. And that is that right now, as I'm recording, it is summer. And a lot of kids are bored. Maybe you don't have camps all the time. They just don't have that much to do. And they're trying to get your attention all the time. And it may be that you are spending time with them, but it seems like even if you spend time with them, it is not enough. And they're still trying to get your attention more and more. And I talk about the main reason for that in my podcast episode this week. But very honestly, when kids try to get your attention, especially when it seems like you can never give them enough, it's usually because what they're craving is not connection with you. What they're craving is engagement or stimulation. And they know that being with you is going to create that engagement or stimulation. So if you're just trying to spend more and more time with them, you're not necessarily meeting that need for engagement, or you're not teaching them how to meet it without you. So I want to talk about this need that they have for engagement, because again, that's going to make them demand a lot less of your attention. So I will say that I am a big believer that kids need to be bored. I don't believe in overscheduling or having them in so many activities. I also don't think you should be their entertainment all the time. I do also know, though, that when kids are bored or underengaged or understimulated, they don't all of a sudden say, let me go start a new creative project that expands my brain. What they do instead is they find the easiest way to engage themselves, which is often demanding your attention or bothering a brother or sister or getting into some trouble. If we teach them, however, to create this engagement and stimulation, they can do this for themselves, and then they won't demand as much attention. So here are 3 steps to teaching them how to engage themselves. The first is to teach them to recognize when they are underengaged. And the easiest way to start with this is just to point out the times where they seem to get into the most trouble or want the most attention from you. It's very likely when you are doing something else or nothing else is going on. So just help them figure out what are the instances. Maybe it's when you're making dinner or doing laundry. Help them identify the times when they actually need to engage or stimulate themselves. The next thing you want to do is help them figure out how to do this. Now, I teach a concept called creating variations, and I have a whole podcast episode on this. I will link to it below the video. But creating variations is simply where you take something they are interested in and you find ways to vary it so that they have new challenges and a little bit of novelty with something they're already interested in. For example, let's say you have a child who needs to move their body a little bit. Maybe they can't even necessarily go outside. What you might do is say, okay, while I am doing something else and you need a little bit of engagement, I challenge you to make an obstacle course, and then tell them that this variation of the obstacle course must include 3 balls, 3 books, and 3 milk crates. So you give them objects to use to create this obstacle course. So there's some variation in something that they already enjoy. Maybe they enjoy moving their body or even building things. You're giving them some variation. And honestly, kids can eventually learn to come up with variations themselves, which is the beauty of this. Now, you may find that some of the times when they're underengaged or understimulated, they can't just build something or do something. Maybe it's even when they are in the classroom and they have to pay attention to their teacher, but they're having trouble with this. That may be an instance where they need to learn how to engage their brain or their body. So I've also done an episode on this, but I'll give you one example here. This is an example that actually came from a child I used to coach, and it was brilliant. And his example was, he said he had trouble focusing when his teacher was talking. So he actually came up with the idea of imagining speech bubbles coming out of her mouth as she was talking. And he even changed the color of the speech bubbles in his head based on what she was saying. So he used that strategy to engage his brain. It allowed him to focus when he was normally underengaged by what she was saying. So again, the 3 steps to teach kids to engage themselves. 1 is help them identify. 2 is to help them figure out what to do if they are at home and they can create a variation. Or 3 is to teach them what to do if they can't create a variation, but still need to engage themselves. Now, a lot of parents will say, well, what if they don't use these strategies? Especially if you're at home, what you want to do, honestly, is set a boundary that you will not be able to engage with them at that moment and let them get upset. Now, I talk a lot more about this in the most recent podcast episode, which I will again link to below the video. And you will understand what you need to do in that moment to teach them that they do need to engage themselves. Because ultimately, if they are demanding attention, more attention than you have to give, they do need to learn how to engage themselves. It's not necessarily that they need more connection or time with you. All right. I will be back again soon with more tips for you. Take care.